up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Bussin Bangers podcast. I got my buddy Big A here with me. What's up, Big A? Hey. We got Sam on the sidelines tonight. He's not feeling too good, so you guys make sure to send your well wishes to old baby Sam. Not feeling too hot tonight, so he's going to take the night off, and y'all are going to hear me spill a little bit about sports later on, but Big A decided to join me. We're going to talk a little bit of Pokemon, but I really kind of want to start with this whole local card shop thing. We're going to get right into it because tomorrow, one of our local card shops, Cavalier Cards in Charlottesville, Virginia, is going to be having a trade night, which is awesome. They do it for, sports Pokemon. They get pizza in there, and actually, it's how me and Aaron caught back up about Pokemon and started talking about Pokemon again at one of the trade nights. So I think that those things are awesome. I think they're important for the hobby. I don't remember them a lot when I was little, and I was a kid who lived in a card shop. My parents dropped me off at the mall. I stayed at Cavalier all day. You had ABC or I don't even remember what baseball cards, etc. You know what I mean, over there at Woodbrook. And I don't.
God, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, that was a spot over. That was a honey hole back in the corner of Woodbrook. But yeah, it's fun, man. I love it. And it kind of leads into our first topic tonight because when you think about a local card shop, whether it be somewhere like a trading card shop like the End, which is going to have all your Magic and your Pokemon and stuff of that nature, or you think somewhere more like Cavalier Cards or like the old school baseball cards, etc. They're going to have, all the sports cards and stuff. One thing that does typically put you off to a local card shop is they're a small business, and everybody knows, even before COVID, with a small business, you got to figure out how to make your money. So you're not going to be able to produce the prices that DA Card World is, or, Pokemon Center, or even honestly, it's hard for them probably to match the TCG prices on Pokemon because they've got electric, employees, got a lot more stuff. That's why sometimes it's better to buy offline. But that being said, I know Aaron, I know myself, we both have local card shops that we feel comfortable buying at. We feel happy going to. We find deals at those places. We don't overpay for stuff. And it's not just because we spend so much money there. Well, maybe Aaron, it might be because he spends so much money there. But, it's not even that. I was walking back into the fold. I hadn't collected in years. And then, here comes my son wanting to collect Pokemon. And I felt right back at home at Cavalier. And there's reasons for that. But I kind of want to, see. I know Aaron's got a couple other places. Cavaliers are just local in Charlottesville. But it's good to get a good feel for everywhere. What makes you feel comfortable going to the card shop? Why do you go there and pay a little bit more than you would to order it from Amazon or to, pick it up from Walmart? Why do you feel more comfortable, spending an extra $5 or $10? And maybe you don't.
So as I'm older now, because, as a kid, you just went there because they had cool stuff. As an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old or even 23-year-old, they had cool stuff. As far as it goes, as you grow up and you're into those places, the local card shop versus buying big box retail. Of course, you can save money at big box retail, Amazon, Walmart, Target, and all that stuff. But the big difference between a card store is these guys have passion. I haven't met very many people who work at card stores who don't have a passion, whether it's for the sports cards or the Pokemon or the Magic or the WWE. You meet a little bit of everybody in there. And so it reminds me, as we're older, as your local bar. You go to a local bar for the people. And the people that work there, you've got your regulars and everything else. So in the card shop is very similar to that. Like the atmosphere can be very similar. You're just not drunk.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, that's true. You could be.
I don't know. I've seen some things, man.
But you build that rapport. You don't have rapport with the Walmart cashier unless you just happen to know them. As far as that goes. So, it's good to go in and talk to those guys. And yeah, at first you might spend a little bit more money, but let's be honest, a lot of those card shops, I mean, if you're a regular customer there, them guys work with you. I've never really walked into a card shop where those guys will not work with you. And then it's also, they see you coming, so they know what you're looking for. So it's the other thing. So, they might actually hold something off to the side and say, hey, I'm pretty sure Pops would like that card. So let me hold this off to the side so it doesn't get snatched up immediately, and just see if he likes it. I mean, that's kind of huge there. And then, you were talking about TCG player, but most of those card shops are pretty good for market pricing. They might be high. You have some of those card shops have their days. I'm not going to don't get me wrong. There's a few that have their days.
Yeah, they do.
But, and you're like, whoa, dude, where are you going with these pricing? I know the electric bill's due in about 3 days, but you're not getting it off of me. But, as far as that goes. So, I think that just the atmosphere is a whole lot different there than it would be at a retail store. Well, it is. I mean, it's just, you walk into a card shop, it's a completely different atmosphere. Now, the other thing, it's intimidating walking in a car shop, like especially new ones. Like, I don't, you can walk into Walmart, you ain't got to worry about anything. But you walk into a newer car shop that you've never been in, it's a little intimidating because those guys, there's been a few times, let me put it this way. There's been a few times I've walked into card shops and those people don't know you, so they don't really give you a time of the day. That's my only complaint from a local card shop until then they realize you're spending money. I don't like running into that, and it definitely puts you off as a collector because you're just like,
sure.
As far as that goes. But I've also learned to turn the other cheek and just keep going. And
it's funny you mentioned the local bar because it's kind of the same, right? Like if you're not a local at the local bar, you go up in there, it's not like they're like, who the hell's this guy?
Right. They're gonna tend to the people they see on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And at first, because that's what they're used to, and those guys expect that. So when a new face walks in, I've worked retail before. You just got to realize that some are better than that, and others as picking them up and going and bringing them in and wanting them to come back. And most of them can do that, but there's a few times where I've walked into a few, and we've talked about it in the past. Is that I'm like, I don't know about that place. And you're like, no, Sam's even had me go back to a couple other places.
Yeah.
That I probably was like, yeah, I've been in there once and I didn't pretty much got blown off. So I'm not going back, but I forced myself to go back and I've had much better experiences, too. So, and then, finding new places on my own. So like now on the local shops, I hunt down local shops as many as I can, and or around there, because you never know what you're going to find. That thrill of the hunt part, and not just in Pokemon, because I've got kids that are starting to collect a little bit of everything now, and I'm trying to catch up. Let me just tell you, but
we're gonna help you. We're gonna help you catch up with some NBA and MLB and a little next.
It was a lot simpler back in the early '90s and the late '80s to collect baseball and basketball and stuff like that. I am at a complete loss. Not to mention I don't watch the sports. I just don't have time for that. So I couldn't tell you who's playing. Right. If the name doesn't pop up through Sports Center and I can recognize it like that, I couldn't tell you a baseball player saved my life.
And that's a crazy thing about baseball. It is. Yeah. But I don't want you to give up all your spots. Is there any of them? We do have a lot of local people that watch this. Is there any?
So I know we've talked about Cav, and Cav is good. Cav's been there forever. I mean, I remember as a child going to there, just like you were, and that place will always be near and dear to me. I forgot about Woodbrook and Jeff and all them over there. I forgot about those guys because there was a stint where I was collecting basketball and NASCAR, the weirdest combination, and those guys had the NASCAR cards.
They did have NASCAR in there. That's old Jeff Vickers for you, though. That boy, he likes his NASCAR. For some reason, I
had a stint for NASCAR cards, and I was going after autographed NASCAR cards and memorabilia stuff back in the early 2000s. So that was that was a flashback there because I completely forgot about that place. The end game in Charlottesville, I will give them props. That I wasn't too sure about them, but I'm giving them another chance, and I've actually been pretty pleased with them. It's not a sports because it's more TCG. So if you're looking for Pokemon Magic board games, and like I said, those guys are really friendly. Um, I I think my very first time there was just a bad experience for me. And maybe people say I have uh, I can be intimidating when I'm just have that resting face. So
that
maybe
face.
maybe that's why they just kind of were like, I'm not talking to that big guy standing right there. As far as that goes, but they've uh, been really good. Down where I'm in Lynchburg, so down here we've got um, Dragonfire games, which reminds me of the end. Um,
Okay.
Same type of setup. It's all TCG there. So Pokemon Magic board games,
Okay.
and they do all kinds of different stuff. But those guys are really nice. It was nice to find a place like that down here. And then there's a new guy that I ran into a couple weeks ago, and he was originally just doing flea markets. And everybody's like, oh, I don't know about flea markets, but no, his stuff actually was legit.
Right.
He is selling legit stuff, and it's not knockoffs and stuff like that. And he's opened up his own little place down here. And I think I don't remember the name of it. He's only been open a couple of weeks, and he's only open on the weekends, but he's super nice. And I will give him a shout out once I can remember his name. I do know his last name is Smith. So, but he does know about the good night, boy. um, uh, the podcast. So, maybe he'll tune in one of these days. But he does not just Pokemon. I actually hunted him down for Pokemon just because he had some older stuff that I was looking for. But he does a lot of sports. So you've got sports from the 80s all the way up through the 70s and 80s, all the way up through now. Because we bought some mosaic from him a couple weeks back and stuff like that. Basketball. He does even do NASCAR and stuff like that. But
are people still collecting NASCAR, like talking about it? Like, I feel like it's died down for me, but it could just be me. Like, it's just where I am in life. I'm not hearing about as much of it. I mean, the whole
I don't see it as much as I used to. Like back in like the early 2000s and late
Earnhardt
90s,
Jr. and Gordon and all them.
especially when Junior and all them were I think the biggest turning point was Earnhardt's death. It kind of blew up after that, because I think his death, I think, probably attracted a lot of people as to, it's sad to say that, but, it took his death for it to become popular. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure NASCAR was extremely popular, but it got very mainstream towards the late 2000s, early 2000s, late 90s, with Junior and Gordon and Harvick and all those guys. Now I'm like, well, most of those guys are retired. I'm like,
I don't know any of them. I'm like you with baseball. I don't know none of those drivers.
That's right. And and I'm like, I think about it as this was just a couple years back, and then I'm like, well, shoot, that was 20 some years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I'm old.
And then the same thing with baseball. My mom Atlanta Braves fan, so I was ecstatic they won the World Series 2 years ago. But then again, I'm from the era when the Braves were playing the Yankees every freaking World Series and losing every time.
UVA basketball.
I can name the entire roster from the 90s and mid 90s and late 90s, and I was a huge Braves fan. I always have been, and Falcons fan, but I couldn't tell you a player that plays on the game.
Yeah,
plays for them now. I couldn't tell you. I just don't watch it. I used to watch a lot of college basketball and a lot of college football, but life just kind of pulls me away from that. And my kids are sports now, so I'm watching their sports. So
Well, I know Aaron brought up a couple spots, so I won't be as nice as Aaron, but I know exactly who he's talking about with going into a place and feeling uncomfortable. So I think that's the biggest thing for me. I think maybe if you go in one time, like you were saying, if they don't, notice you or pay attention to you. But I feel like a local card shop, they really, really, really got to, give you that experience when you come in. And that's not always the case. If you're looking for that best friend at a card shop, you're probably not going to find it the first or second time you go into a local spot, because you're new, and it kind of makes sense. Kind of like you said about the local bar. It's like,
Well, let's be real too. The way the economy goes in the card shops, I'm glad that there's still card shops around. But
yes,
online has literally killed all that.
yep.
Let's take CAV for example. I'm sure probably 75 to 80% of their revenue is generated off of eBay.
Oh yeah,
If not more. I mean, I'm sure they sell quite a bit in the store, but I'm sure their sales from online sales, whether that's eBay or wherever else they're selling at, and it is generated from there. The end, I'm not really sure. I mean, they're
yeah. I don't know
huge. I don't know if they do eBay or they sell anything online. I haven't really said. I know they have an online website that you can order from.
Yeah.
But and maybe the community is what holds them together. So
I
it's a
feel
different
like,
dynamic there
yeah,
than it is in CAV. But like I said, CAV has been around for so long, and
yeah,
those guys have been there for so long. It's been you would
entrenched.
think as being a local card shop, they would be uh, welcoming everybody. And don't get me wrong, those guys will say hi to you as soon as you walk in the door.
Yeah.
As far as that goes. But I understand it's a tiny little place, so it gets crowded in there quick, and so the new people can quickly disappear into the crowd. As far as that goes.
Yep.
But yes, I mean, but the local car shop is going to give you a completely different experience than ordering online or Amazon or going to Target and even GameStop.
Right. Yeah. Well, one thing I didn't hear you bring up for somebody who buys singles all the time, as far as like my wife goes, she'll tell you she's she doesn't buy clothes off of Amazon because she can't try them on. So if you're looking at singles, I like that part about the local card shop too. I mean, they might be a little bit higher sometimes, but you're looking at that card, you're seeing that card, you're not getting ripped off. It's a real card. The condition of that card. You can put it in your hand. And in all honesty, it usually is the window shopping that'll get you to buy that card. You see in that card in that case, you're like, I gotta have it. So I think that's one thing for me that obviously you build a community. You want to feel comfortable where you're going, and that's how I feel at CAB now. But and maybe if I went to the end more, I'd feel that way more there. But it just I haven't. They've been around a long time too. I know CAB's been around, but I remember the end over there. What was it? It was over where that Pizza Hut was on 29. They were over there back in the day, and then they were. Or maybe, yeah, no, I think they were there for a while, and then they were over at where TJ Maxx and stuff is now. So they moved around. So it just tells you it's hard to keep those shops up and keep those shops going. But I feel like they've got to have that community feeling. But the things that really draw me in, like the new releases, obviously you can get them and you're comfortable. It's not been messed with. It's like, hey, this is a real. Yeah, Kevin was right. Yeah, they were over at that old Pizza Hut. I knew it was. That Pizza Hut was good, though, man. That's what we need in America. Yep. We need some more Pizza Hut buffets. They need to bring that back. But I don't know where to take my T-ball team at the end of the year no more. But yeah, no, it's just I think that like you've got to have that community, but you also feel like a little bit safer buying. It's like it used to be loose packs, and I never felt comfortable buying loose packs. I don't care, baseball cards, etc., Cavalier cards. And when those loose packs were in the box, as far as I was concerned, somebody already got the hits. So I was never buying loose packs from nobody. But buying sealed stuff, it's like, those guys, they're bottom line, they're making their money, and you're paying for what you're going to get. So you don't have to really worry about like, hey, has this been searched through, or has somebody already hit the top piece off of this? And that trust it's clutch. I feel like that's really what it comes down to for me. It's like
that is huge because you hit the nail on the head on that. I mean, buying sealed product, trust is a big thing. One of the reasons why I won't buy Japanese products online is because, for instance, Pokemon, for example, that all can be weighed. It could be tampered with. Those boxes were very easy to reseal. It's a lot different in Japan than it is here in the U.S. as far as quality control. On that aspect, I'm not talking about the cards because the Japanese quality control is a lot better in the physical cards than the U.S. version.
Yes, it is.
But you know, it makes me extremely nervous buying that stuff online or through reputable places. I'd much rather have it in hand and check it before.
Yeah.
Before I'm buying it. And that's pretty much the only way I will buy that. And so going into the car shop, I don't have to worry about that. They've already done the due diligence for you. I mean, you may pay top market price for that car, but to be honest with you, at a car shop, I really don't care.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they'll still work with you, but I'd much rather than be there. So if it makes me have to pay the top price on the higher end of the market spectrum, I could get it cheaper on Facebook groups. But really, by the time you pay shipping, you're probably going to pretty damn close to what they were having it.
What they were going to have it at anyhow.
Yeah. So unless it's like insane deal that somebody doesn't know what they have, but I mean, it keeps them in business. I much rather shop there. I would much rather buy my booster boxes, whether that was Pokemon or my Mosaic boxes or Optic boxes or whatever else, or Prism, WWE Prism. I bought all mine from, bought some from Walmart, but then I bought some from Cav and I bought some from the card shops down here. So, I mean, I'd much rather spend it there than giving it to Walmart or Target. On them, and as long as they can get it in stock. I mean, you do run into occasionally, like Dragonfire down here got Scarlet and Violet 4 days after release.
Right, just took a while.
I mean, their distributor was delayed, so that sucked for them. But I still bought from them. I didn't buy. I didn't go.
As you trust.
I haven't bought any of that product from Walmart or Target or any of that stuff. It was all bought in Charlottesville or down here at a local card shop. I'd much rather give my money to them.
Well, maybe we should buy it from Walmart. the way it's been. But we'll talk about that at the end of the show. We'll get into that a little bit there at the end of the show. But we are going to talk a little sports, and we did just talk WWE, which is interesting because I don't know if any – well, unless you live under a rock, and you probably already know that – when it comes to the WWE and the UFC have merged. So I'm going to be real interested to see if they take that over with cards and start doing some John Jones, Undertaker combo autos. Because
I just think it makes them easier to cross promote,
absolutely.
You did have Brock Lesnar doing both. So it wouldn't shock me if you start seeing more UFC fighters in WWE. But you also got to think, they bought 51%. They merged the company under one umbrella for public trading purposes, but Dana White's still doing UFC and Vince McMahon's still doing WWE. Right. So I don't know how those egos are going to work, to be honest with you. Be answering to the same.
Vince is supposed to take some time off. We'll see.
Well, no, he came back. He came back. Stephanie stepped down. Apparently, I don't watch WWE, but I've been following this story just because I find it very interesting.
It is. There's been some fun stories, man. Like that.
As far as what was going on, with his legal battles, because I thought it was comical. So, but no, apparently he's back. And back for good, from what I understand. So,
gotcha. Well, let's jump into WWE. Let's jump into the NBA playoffs real quick. So, NBA playoffs fast approaching. Some of you guys might not know this. I am a sad Chicago Bulls fan, but we are going to make the playoffs again and not have a good draft pick again. Well, we didn't have a first round pick, so it doesn't really matter. But the NBA has been interesting. Because in the NBA, the superstars have always ran the league. They've always made you interested in the playoffs. They've always, kept you captivated. I grew up a Michael Jordan fan, like a lot of kids in the 90s. He's a rare player where it didn't matter where you lived. You loved watching them. So I grew up like that. But the NBA playoffs are kind of like college basketball. The tournament can make a superstar. It really can. And so I'm looking at the playoffs. You got LeBron's going to be back in it this year. It's going to make it interesting with LeBron and the Lakers back in the playoffs. You got my Bulls, who are all-time favorite, of course. And then in the Eastern Conference, you got, the Bucks, the Sixers, and the Celtics are at the top again. A lot of people might not realize this, but the Brooklyn Nets traded Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, and they are going to be in the playoffs sitting there at the 6th seed. Of course, they are going to, I guess it's the 6th seed, yeah, or the 7th seed. No, they're 6th seed, yeah. So Philly will have them in the first round, but Philly will have to also beat the Bucks and Boston to get through. But as collectors, we're looking at, who's going to blow up in the playoffs. I remember in early 2000s, Tyronn Lue, who's now the coach of the Clippers, he actually had a big playoff, and his cards went crazy. You had Trevor Ariza for the Lakers. He had a big playoff. Cards went crazy. Trae Young recently, a couple years ago, had a good end of the season, had a crazy playoff. Cards went crazy. So the NBA playoffs can be a huge make or break time for NBA cards. And really, one lesson I'll teach everybody when it comes to the NBA and Major League Baseball, way more so than NFL. If a player gets hot and you don't collect that player, you better sell their cards immediately because they're never going to be that high again. So when I'm looking at the NBA playoffs right now, I'm looking at, there are some new bloods in there. You've got the Sacramento Kings, who've got a great young point guard, De'Aaron Fox. They've got Sabonis, whose daddy was an absolute monster in the 90s. Those are guys whose cards have sold before, but if De'Aaron Fox comes out and puts a hurting on Stephen Curry in those first couple games, I'm telling you, if you have a De'Aaron Fox card, sell that thing, because even this is his first time there, and say the Kings are good next year, and say they play really, really good next year, and they're back in the 3 seed, that card still will not sell more than it will after he beats Steph Curry in this series. Same thing, Cleveland, they've got a good matchup with the New York Knicks on the other end. Donovan Mitchell's a guy who could blow up, have a great, really good playoffs because he gets the Knicks in the first round, and they could upset the Bucks in the second round. So, as you're watching the NBA playoffs and as a collector, if it's not somebody that you're, all-time collector, or it's your team, like the Bulls, for me, or like say you're like me and you collect former UVA players. If it's not one of those people, do not hesitate. Don't think, hey, this card's going to get more value in 4 or 5 years, because that's not how sports cards work. It just isn't. Yeah. So if they blow up and you can get some money off of it, go get some money off of it, because I'm telling you, that's a smart move. This is coming from a guy who in the early 2000s sold a David Boston PSA 10 gold refractor for $400, and that thing ain't worth $4 now. So if you got somebody that goes nuts and is having a great series, that's why I really kind of wanted to really put that in everyone's head out there. Sell it fast. Get on eBay, get on Facebook. One thing we did talk about local card shops earlier, probably wouldn't take it to your local card shop. If you got a buddy that sells or something, because like I said, they got to make money. So the odds of you getting the best value out of selling it to them is probably pretty slim. But you want to look at eBay, or if you know somebody that can do consignment for you, even if it's somebody that, I don't do eBay anymore because I got so fed up with eBay that I got rid of it. So if I get like a big hit card, like a top dollar card, and I just want to put it on there with a buy now, most exposure, I use my dad's account, and Dad doesn't even sell on eBay, but he's got a good record. He's been on there for years and years and years. And so people are typically comfortable buying those big type cards because they're protected by PayPal and eBay anyhow. So if it's like one of those big hits, like I'm telling you, De'Aaron Fox, if they beat Golden State and he averages 30 points a game and he's a star and he's on ESPN and Stephen A. Smith is out here saying, this guy is great, like, sell it because that thing will never, ever be worth more money. So yeah, if there's, like John Morant, his start went a little bit lower. I'm trying to look through the list and see if there's anybody else that could really kind of sneak up on people in the playoffs. Anthony Edwards has already been selling for a good amount. You're probably not going to cap out on him. Brandon Ingram for the Pelicans could probably, get some value out of, but odds are you probably spent some money on him. So for me, it's the Kings that I'm targeting. If the Kings have anybody on that Kings team has a big series, that's who you really kind of want to get rid of and get rid of their stuff, because I doubt you're a Kings fan. I haven't met many. Who knows? You might be. But without further ado, I'm going to switch it up to something Aaron actually was talking about earlier with baseball. And Aaron, this will make you feel better about not knowing any of the players' names, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to show people the first week of the season stats. I'm going to show you who the leader in stolen bases is. I'm going to show you who the leader in home runs is. I'm going to show you who the leader in RBIs is. And avid baseball people, my buddy Kevin Marshall's been commenting, he's going to have a hard time naming all of them. Or maybe not naming all of them, but just like, that guy's not that good. Like, how's he leading the league in homers? And that's what baseball is. That's why baseball is really cool, because if somebody blows up, you can really flip a card and make some money off of it pretty quick. There's been guys over the years, Dontrell Willis. There was a guy named Eric Thames who came over from Japan and played for the Brewers. These type of guys, like, they can put money in your pockets. And if you've got Bowman at your house, or you've got all these old rookies and just sitting around you think are worth nothing, if this guy comes out of nowhere, has been playing in the minor leagues for 6 years and hits 3 homers the first weekend of the season, somebody's buying his card. That card that was sitting in a box somewhere that was only worth 5 cents, someone's buying it for $15. So it's like baseball is kind of cool in that way, where it's kind of like the stock market when it comes to cards. It's like, if a dude has a good week, good month, go get them. I mean, go sell them. It's like, that's what you want to do with baseball. And we'll take a look at it. We'll start off with who we got here. Who do we have next? Oops, sorry. Well, technical difficulties. Oh, yeah, so you can't even really see it. The home run leader. Pop that back.
I have to get my old man glasses. Hold on.
I know. I tried to highlight on the next one. So the leader in the home runs in Major League Baseball after 5 or 6 games into the season is none other than Brian Reynolds, the left fielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates. So if you have a Brian Reynolds card, you sell it. But if you don't have a Brian Reynolds card, you do not go and buy it. Because the thing about baseball is it's going to even out. This guy – We'll go back and look at it at the end of the year on a podcast, and we'll bring up this list and we'll laugh about the names that are on this. Now, some of these guys, of course, the leaders in homers. You got Xander Bogaerts, a household name. You've got Ronald Acuna, a household name. Yordan Alvarez.
Acuna, I recognize that one.
Yep. And you might even recognize Adam Duvall, because he's 72 years old and he's still playing in Major League Baseball. But he's on there. But, a lot of these names, Nolan Gorman's kind of an up-and-coming prospect. So, but C.J. Cron, perfect example. C.J. Cron his cards are just not, they're not going to retain value. Now, he's not going to be somebody, because he's already done this before. People have already seen the cycle with C.J. Cron, so they know what he's up to. But there's other guys that people get excited about, like maybe Trace Thompson. He's the brother of Klay Thompson. So it's like, oh, yeah, it's Trace Thompson. He's got to be a good athlete. But, the guy's got 3 homers, but he's only played in 3 games. So it's like he's not even an everyday starter. And so hopefully no one's buying his cards. But, if they are buying his cards, then you better sell yours if you have one. The RBI leaders list is a little bit better. I know I did the preview special. I think I had a first podcast when I was like, hey, who should you buy this year? So I'm kind of patting myself on the back, but Yordan Alvarez is leading the league in RBIs. And, that's no surprise, because he's one of the best players in baseball. But once again, there's Adam Duvall, 73-year-old Adam Duvall for the Red Sox, who aren't even supposed to be good, that already has 9 RBIs to start the year. These are guys that you need to sell if you have their cards. And if you go look on eBay and people are paying for them, you get rid of them if they're not the people you collect. And that's a way, as a collector, that you can build your piggy bank to go get the cards you actually want. One more we'll do is stolen bases leaders. I just had to do this because I'm a Baltimore fan, if you want the honest truth. And Jorge Mateo and Cedric Mullins are at the top. So I would invest in them. No, I'm just kidding. Jorge Mateo, I love the guy. He was a spark plug for the Orioles last year. But I don't necessarily collect the Orioles cards because there's so much turnover in sports that it just kind of gets frustrating going through that. If I had a Jorge Mateo auto rookie right now, I'd be selling that bad boy too. So if you want to be able to build your piggy bank up a little bit, and if you're spending a lot of money on cards, you've got to find a way to bring some back in. All of us do it. I mean, we all sell back in because we've got to have money to get the next stuff. Otherwise, you're just piling up stuff, and it inevitably 80% of it will probably lose value. And Pokemon, Magic, any of it. You got your big hits that are going to stay good, but inevitably they're going to lose a little bit of value over time. So I did want to kind of share that with everybody when it comes to sports and what's going on in the baseball season, and then we talked about WWE and UFC, which I think is pretty cool that they're mixing. I think it could bring us some cool cards. I really do. I was looking at the Prism. You just talked about WWE Prism and saw the duos where it's like an Undertaker Mick Foley auto. Like that thing would be sick. Gosh.
But I haven't watched it since the 90s, late 90s, and maybe early 2000s.
Well, Gold Dust is brother or son. I don't think anybody's sure if it's his brother or son. He's like apparently a star in it now. Cody Rhodes. All I could see when I see any of the Rhodes is think of Gold Dust.
I was a huge Undertaker fan, so it was, he's retired, so I didn't even see his retire. I watched that. I guess they had that biography. I guess was it The Last Ride or whatever? It was like 3 or 4 episodes or something like that.
Yeah,
which is cool to see his road to retirement and stuff like that. But I couldn't tell you half these people. I think Ric Flair's daughter's wrestling. I did see that the other night. I had no clue she was wrestling.
I just say it's cool, man. WrestleMania was awesome. Just seeing like all the WrestleMania, like I don't pay for the pay-per-view, but seeing all the stuff that happened at it, like Snoop Dogg coming out there.
Well, see, if you have Paramount Plus, you get. But Paramount Plus, I think you can watch it like the next, I guess, a couple days later. And I've got wrestling. The kids love wrestling, so they watch it. So I walked into it yesterday, and it was Ric Flair's daughter was losing. I think she lost her title last night, and they were hollering about that. And I was just like, okay. I was like, I didn't even know. Yeah, exactly. Woo! I didn't even know that she was wrestling. So, as far as, and it's funny because she looks like her daddy.
Right.
It's scary.
That's probably not a good thing necessarily.
And I mean, I guess she's taking his following his steps because she had the robes and everything. And I was just like, wow, this is like 1988. It's screaming, can I have my stuff back? So
I was talking. Dad he was getting mad last night because Brock Lesnar was beating up old Cody Rhodes. He was all upset about it. I remember that about wrestling. They show him getting beat up.
Brock Lesnar's still wrestling? I mean, he's been doing it for a while too, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. He's still doing the same thing now. He ain't changed. He just looks like the same dude, same story. Just like when they bring John Cena back every 4 years. It's like, okay, John.
And it had Snoop Dogg on there? See, I didn't watch
Snoop Dogg, yes, and Rey Mysterio.
God, how old is he? He's got to be.
That's what I said. That's because they got a mask. That ain't Rey Mysterio. They done switched out Rey Mysterio 32 times, like a stunt.
It's his clothes, yeah. His clothes are now starting to do it.
No, they got that luchador mask on. I'll never forget when the NWO pulled his mask off. It was like, oh my gosh, that was the end of the world.
I don't remember that either.
Them old bullies.
I got you.
But hey, I can't get out of here. I know we're done with Scarlet and Violet. I'm done with Scarlet and Violet. You go.
I am completely done. We were hyped for that set, and if anybody's collects Pokemon, we were hyped for that set. I'm very torn so far on the changes. Yeah. I'm hoping what we have saw with this set was some batching issues, because the amount of hits that people were pulling is massive.
It's so dumb.
And that was my biggest fear. I don't know if you remember me telling you that was, the hit rate
pre-release weekend
be astronomical. So, value-wise, these cards, I mean, tanked in 72 hours.
Yeah.
It's cool for the kids, but, like he said, one of the things that you got to still be able to do is still try to make some money back on your extras or the duplicates or whatever to buy the next thing.
Yep.
So I'm a little disappointed with the set. I'm mixed feelings over how they've changed it. I'm hoping it was batching seating issues that they were having because the amount of top card pulls was astronomical. From what I've seen across the board.
it happens with it. It happens with all the Pokemon sets. I'm sure Sword and Shield is the same way the base sets. Like the bottom drops out.
I just don't remember it being this bad. I mean, I've seen it with other sets where they've had, issues where you could pull a lot from first run. And then as the runs went on, Evolving Skies is a huge example of this. At the very early on, your chances of pulling all arts and stuff like that was pretty good. As that set, I don't know what print run they're in right now, but as far as that goes, and it's like that set is brutal at this point if you're buying the current packs. As far as that goes. So I don't know. There's cool artworks. Don't get me wrong. The cards are gorgeous. Not too happy with the EXs, the standard EXs that replaced the Vs. I think they were a little but the alt arts, I forgot the new Rangos, the secret.
Oh yeah, the new words, the hyper rares, the illustration rares.
The illustration rares, those things were amazing looking.
They do look good.
And to be honest with you, most of the cards that I pull personally and condition wise, centering, I will say, have been actually really good. So I'm hoping that's a good sign going forward. But to be honest with you, it's, what are we, 5 days after launch? And I'm already done with this.
I'm already done.
I'm not glad that we have a break until late June.
Yeah. And then 151 will be back. So we can't do Bussin Bangers though without busting a banger. See if we can get the Tyranitar in here tonight. What you think? Do that real quick. For you guys that don't know, these little guys right here, you can find these at Sam's Club, and they're I think they're on clearance right now for around $20. So if you're looking for something for this weekend for Easter, but these things usually run you about $35. They come with all the normal stuff and the ETB. I have no idea why Sam's Club feels the need to put these things on here because they're not worth anything. But there's a whole half a box where you just got little promo cards.
Is it all promos? Yeah. Are they all Black Star promos?
Yeah. Yeah, they are. But it's like, how many of those could there possibly be? Because every single one of these boxes has the same cards, the same promos.
Don't sleep on promos, dude. Some of these promos, I don't know if you've ever checked promo lists. Some of those promos are up there.
I might have to say them for you then. But no, if you've ever opened Battle Styles, speaking of brutal sets.
I can't say that for that. I haven't opened up enough. There was not much interest with me. I think I was still fighting Fusion.
Oh yeah.
When Battle Styles came out, because, and maybe I could be wrong on when did Battle Styles Shining Fates had just
Shining Fates.
Shining Fates
come out. I can't stand Shining Fates, but that's because I don't do the Radiance.
And I was still fighting with that set, trying to pull the Shiny VMAX.
Remember, you get your book. You got to have your book. So Noah can tell you that the gold energy is worth more than anything, even though it ain't. But no, Battle Styles does have a lot of gold in it, I feel like. I really do. So
isn't there a gold Snorlax in there?
I think so. Right? All I know is Tyranitar's in here somewhere. He's in this box.
That might have been Fusion Strike. I can't remember.
No, I think you're right. Was it Chillin'? No, Chillin' Rain was the gold Snorlax, wasn't it?
Maybe it is.
I think it is.
It's too long of a day.
And then you always got the dice and everything that come with it. So if you're a player, that's the whole point of these ETBs in the first place.
Yeah, I was right. Shining Fates is what I was preoccupied with before when Battle Styles came out. I was still fighting with Shining Fates. Trying to collect all the shinies and the shiny.
I do like that they're gotten rid of the code card thing though, because that's just a killer when you're opening a pack of cards and you can see that code card and you're just like, nah, man, come on. Yeah.
Golden Houndoom is in that.
Oh, that's right. All right, what we got here? Let's bust some bangers, boys. Let's end the night good. Get one for Sam here.
You got a couple of alt arts in that, and you've got like the single strike and the rapid strike.
Oh, got a V. Can't be
go.
mad. That's probably the only hit of the box, but I got a V. Who will we get here? I don't have that one though. It is one of the most deceiving things I think about Pokemon cards is you see those V's in the pack if you've never opened Pokemon before, and you're like,
well, see now they'll just be EXs.
Yeah, I know. I don't think I like that. I think I missed the V's.
A few months.
Yeah, I think I already missed the V's. I really do. I'm just like the EX is like, well, or as Noah would call them, the GXs are they're pretty intense, but I just don't think they're going to carry value. So
that's all I'm saying. Snag up your rainbows while you can still get them for cheap.
Oh yeah, guys! Just so y'all know, you heard it here. The rainbows ain't coming back. So Aaron said you better grab them. Oh, nothing. That's annoying. So I guess Battle Styles doesn't follow the code card thing either.
I think it's like Fusion. They were just that's a green. That's a green card. So that wouldn't have been a non-hit.
Okay.
It's before they went for the white and the black borders. That was when you got a white card or a green card.
Okay. Got it. All right. Oh, I'm still gonna hide that thing because I don't like seeing it. Other people like looking at it, not me. All right, what we got? Oh, Slowpoke. Messed up. They made a card about me. Come on, Battle Styles. Where you at?
He said we're not talking about your O's and how they could be doing something this year.
We already did. That is one ugly Pokemon, bro. I don't know who he is, but he is.
You can get the alt art from Pokemon Go. The Pokemon Go set had the alt art for that.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? Conqueror?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the other thing about S&V. I think most people hate it, was that you don't know any of the Pokemon. It's like, what the hell? I don't know none
No, but they did have some really cool artwork. So I will give them on that one.
I'll give them it for the artwork. Let's get rid of that code card. All right, what we got? Come on. It's probably going to be one. Dude, some of these ETBs, though, these old school ones might have one hit in them. And that's it. I've seen a lot of that. And this is probably what's happening right here.
To be honest with you, I've never bought any from Costco or Sam's.
Yeah. Well, I would have told you that there's nothing in them, but like I said, I showed y'all that video. One of the guys that bought one from us hit that freaking Mew.
That alt Mew, yep.
That thing was nice. But if I got a Tyranitar, it'll be all worth it, you know.
There's about 11 rainbows you could hit in that set.
And this one, yeah, that's what I thought. I knew it was either rainbows or gold. I knew there was one thing that you could get a lot of.
There's 6 golds in that one too.
Yeah, but it's also a huge set, right? What is it? No, 163. It's not bad.
No, it's smaller than Fusion and Evolving.
Yeah,
and now even I think Chilling Reigns.
I'm chilling, man. I'll still say I know Darkness.
See, we got spoiled towards the end of Sword and Shield because you had trainer galleries, so you could pull in the reverse spot. So prior to Brilliant Stars, any of the other sets, you only had one shot to hit anything.
All you got is one mic. Hey, nope, nothing. Tricked again.
So when you and now moving forward, you get two reverse and.
Yeah, now it's not worth anything.
Now you can.
So many hollows. So many hollows. I got to get something here. Come on, baby. I should have weighed these packs and told the rest. I got.
You're looking for Tyranitar?
Yeah, but there's no battle styles. There's no trainers, right? In Fusion, there's no trainers either.
Trainers?
Trainer galleries?
No. They didn't start Trainer Gallery until Brilliant Stars.
Monkey. Come on, baby. baby. Give me some luck here. No. Dang it. Lick a tongue. I don't want to lick a tongue. Man, Bussin Bangers is tough. I'm about to sneak a card in like her. But that's the risk you take with buying cards, man. You never know. You don't know what you're going to get. You could be like Tyler Payne and get an $800 box, or you could be like Neil Taylor and get a $20 box. You just don't really know how it's going to work until you open them. But it does feel a little bit better getting them for $20 to $35. Makes the hurt not as bad. And say you do get a miracle hit, then it's worth it. It looks like something's in there, but it's probably not. Oh, my gosh. Damn, psychic energies. All right, one more pack. One more pack, man. Let's get them something for the podcast.
You have to stand on one foot.
One more for the vine. Last pack. All right, I'm going to do it. Okay. No, I'm just... I'll fall over trying to do it. Cubone. All right, it's all a code card. Ain't nothing in here, y'all. Dang it.
Gringo?
Nah. Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah.
Yep.
Ah!
See, you didn't stand on one foot.
Man. So, yeah, whole ETB. That's what I got.
Whew, that's brutal.
I know, man. That's terrible. I did pick up some Whatnot, though. I got a little mail day action, so that was cool. Got picked up these guys. They came from a box break I did over on old Whatnot. So
nice. Mine are on the way. I did a Scarlet and Violet box break. Didn't really hit a whole lot. Well, I take that back. It hit quite a bit, but it was already pretty much stuff I already had multiples of already. So as far as that goes, this is, I know you've seen them, but this is a couple of new ones I picked up.
The Ancient Mew is sick.
And did I pick up? Oh yeah, the dog.
Oh, ooh.
That's the EX. So, did you buy any of the promo packs? Don't forget the promo packs. You gotta get your promo packs to get your Scarlet and Violet promos. They're all Cosmic Hollow borders.
Okay.
On those 3-card blisters, and then you have the single blister. Yep.
Okay. And then I did get this guy in mail day, and if anybody grew up in the 90s, got to remember old Penny Hardaway. No,
I remember Penny.
You got
remember the Sprite commercial?
Hey yo. So this was like a card that I wanted so bad as a kid, was the Penny Hardaway Finest. And this is kind of like when cards kind of got cool, but this is early on, and this refractor's worth a ton. But I saw this and I picked it up. I think it was like $12. So I was like, dude, it cost that much to grade a card. But that came in today. I was pretty hyped about
it.
Yeah. And then I think Pops came over. Dad, he's building up his old collection, and you want to see something crazy. Look at that bad boy. The bird himself, baby. And that thing's in good shape, too.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, these are all going to Noah or to Zeke, whichever one shows the most interest. And then, of course, the beautiful Ricky Henderson. Ooh, baby. Look at that guy. That's
in great shape, too.
I know, dude. That's what I said. I was like, dude, you got to get these things graded, man. What you doing? And then for all my young folks out there, he did drop off another Bryce Harper rookie. So that's pretty cool. But
I got you.
Anyhow, I know you got to get up in the morning. I got these crazy kids off for spring break. So thanks, everybody, for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. And we'll be back next Tuesday with the good Lord willing, like Sonny Randall said. Y'all take it easy, guys. Take it easy, Big A.
All right, bud. Have a good night.
Have a good one, man.
Later.